Hi, everybody. Hi, Jen. I'm just going to wait a few minutes to make sure everybody is on, but we're going to do a pretty simple card. I'm going to do my best to kind of keep track of the comments that are coming through. I have it hooked up in front of me as well, but obviously if my head is down, I might miss some. Hi, Linda. Hi, Kristen. So we're going to be using, obviously, the Fuchsia stamp set by Avery, Elle, and it's going to be a pretty quick and simple card. It is such a cute stamp. So I had to Google these because I wasn't sure. Obviously, I know they're fuchsia in color, but I wasn't sure exactly what they looked like. Hi, Lori. So I'm going to just get started. Like I said, I'll try to keep an eye out for the comments, but I may miss some, so feel free to repeat yourself if necessary. Hello there. All right, so I kind of have an idea in mind. That's usually the way I go. I usually have a rough idea and kind of just wing it as I go along. Doesn't always end up the way I planned it. I'm going to use my Missy. I've never used this stamp before, and it's kind of big, so just in case I need to stamp it twice. And obviously we are going to color these with Copics because that's what I'm most comfortable with. I'm going to use the Blackout ink by Ink on 3. That is definitely my go-to ink for Copics now. I love watching YouTube videos from my TV. I can see a lot better. That wasn't actually too bad. I'm going to stamp this twice, but I'm not going to cut out this whole mask. It's just a little bit too intricate for me. So I am going to just grab a little scrap piece of Eclipse masking paper, because I'm just going to mask off this side right here. How was everybody's Christmas? I do the same thing with the TV. I'm just going to cut out that little tiny leaf right there. Doesn't have to be perfect. We are going to do ink blending, but I'm going to do ink blending right directly over the image itself and just color over it. Oh, which one? The Avery Elle one? Nice. I love getting crafty stuff. I got, well, if you watched my video yesterday, I got the Zig markers finally. Hi, Liz. I was just chatting with Liz on Instagram a little while ago. So I am going to do some ink blending, but I'm gonna do this with stencil brushes, so it's a lot more faint than if you were to use like the regular ink blending tool. I got these stencil brushes from scrapbook.com, and I know that they have the clarity ones out there. I don't own those, but I really am liking these. So I'm going to use Twisted Citron, Picked Raspberry, and Seedless Preserves. So we'll see if I can get these to work good together. And it just gives a little bit more faint look to it, just so that you have a little bit of color in the background, but it's not overpowering. So also, just so that you guys are aware, I am going to be leaving next week for Arizona for 2 weeks. So I will have videos scheduled, but I'll also be doing some lives the following week. So the week of the 17th, 18th, 19th, and up till the 21st. I'm going to be doing some lives, and they won't be scheduled. So you'll just have to kind of keep an eye out for them, and I'll be doing those from Creativation. And so being I don't know what I'm going to run into and when, I just can't schedule it. So just keep an eye out. You know, if I run into something that I think you guys will be interested in seeing, I'll definitely pop on and do a live along with the rest of the Scrapping for Less team too. So keep an eye out for that as well. I'm going to visit my parents first, and then I'm going to go to Creativation. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. My parents have a house in Arizona, and actually they just got there today. So I'll visit them for a week, and then I will go to Creativation, and then I will be home. So I'm just going to kind of fade this off to white until there's no more ink to put on there. And it looks a little crazy now, but once everything is colored, I think it'll look all right. But you know me, I second guess myself all the time. Oh yes, if I see Tim Holtz, I'll definitely pop on here for a live video for sure. And it'll be a mix. I'll probably be on Instagram as well. So I don't know whether you guys have Instagram or if you follow me on Instagram, but it'll probably be a mix between the two. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the coloring. Now the fuchsias, this top part is pink and the bottom part is purple for the most part from what I could see on Google. So I'm going to color it that way, and they're super bright. So I'm going to be using some RV markers, which are extremely bright. And I'm going to start off, actually I'm going to start off with the purple because I'm going to do a little bit more blending with the pinks. So I'll put the caps as always. You know, I flip mine around because I like to flick away from me. Yes, I do have a Facebook. I share all my cards on it, but it's not like I'm on it. So if you guys look me up on Facebook, send me a friend request. All right, so I'm trying to figure out what is what here. Now, if I was going to put these oxides down, like just the oxides, I probably would not color over them. It tends to get muddy. So being I'm just using a very light layer of them, I'm okay to color over it. I get pretty good results that way. Kelly's probably my favorite. Well, Kelly is the reason why I actually dove in and bought Copics finally. After wanting them for several years, watched her videos and had to do it. She is funny. She's super talented too. So I think the number one thing that when people are coloring, not getting the look that they're going for is mainly the contrast. So if you watch my video from yesterday, I was struggling a little bit with the zigs, not getting the contrast that I typically look for when I'm coloring with my Copics. Don't be afraid to put a super dark color and a super light color. So I'm just going to get a scrap piece of paper and I'm going to show you what these colors actually look like. So the color of the part of this flower that I want to color is somewhere in this area. So in order to get the contrast, I'm going to throw in a super dark color and a super light color. So that this is going to be the color of your object, but you're going to have the highlight and shadow. I don't have quite as many stories as Kelly. And if I did, you probably wouldn't want to hear them. Some of these parts, I'm really not even sure what they are, but they're going to be purple. Hi, Gail. Hi, Christine. Do you guys have anything fun planned for New Year's? Me either. I think once you hit like 25, it's it's not a big deal anymore. Raining here in New York, we hope for rain in the winter. It's better than the snow. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's freezing. I don't know. It's not even all that cold today, but all day long, I have not been able to get warm. I think it's like 30 out, which is about normal for where I live this time of year, but I just cannot get warm. I am freezing. I'm really hoping I'm not getting sick. I really don't have time to be sick right now. This one's kind of hanging off the page. I'm not even sure exactly what part I'm coloring, but usually if you can't tell what it is, the person getting the card is not going to be able to tell what it is either. Yeah, I took, what is that stuff called? Airborne, because I have to fly in a week. So I've never flown with a cold before, but I heard that it's not all that pleasant. So I'm trying to stay healthy. So I got some of your cards too. So anybody who had sent me a card, thank you very much. I have them on display. All right, so for this part here of the flower where it kind of starts draping down, from the pictures that I could see on Google, part of this is like green on top. So I'm going to try to combine the green and starting off with the pink so that they kind of blend together. Yes, Kim, I got yours. Thank you very much. So we're going to try this first before we color the rest of them. And as long as, see, I'm using an RV02 and a YG03. So because the last number is either the same or similar, they should blend well together. Yes, Liz, I got some Christmas cards. And I literally have them all on display. When my parents came over on Christmas Day, I had all of them. Every single Christmas card I got on display. So I guess I'm kind of just making this up as I go along because I want my darkest area to be up towards here, but I also want it to blend up here. I'm kind of going to add shading on both sides. I sent out a ton of Christmas cards, and honestly, I just got a message yesterday or the day before from somebody I sent a Christmas card to like 3 weeks ago, and they just got it. So I don't know what's going on, but apparently people are going to be getting Christmas cards in May. Yeah, I thought so too. And I knew that I was sending them out a little bit later, especially for people maybe on the West Coast, but I didn't expect it to be that delayed. I watch YouTube every night and I usually fall asleep watching YouTube. Uh-oh, I hear Frankie. I'm hoping he doesn't jump up here, but you might see him. My favorite style, I like clean and simple for myself. I love to see other people's creations and, you know, with all the dyes and everything and the pattern paper that they put together, and I admire them, but when I make them, I just can't get them to look like they do. So I pretty much stick to clean and simple. I like one layer cards. And one layer cards to me is mainly because it's cheaper. Dyes are very expensive. And that's how I kind of got into the one layer cards, especially once I got my Copics. Then I enjoyed making the one layer cards even more, and it's even cheaper. I don't know what that was. What is everybody else's style of card? I know that I saw one person say clean and simple. I have a scan and cut, mainly because, like I said, I'm lucky that I get to buy the stamps. To have to buy the matching dies too, it's not always going to happen for me. So the scan and cut, yes, does save, and it saves time too, but it does save a lot of money. I do find that there are some images though that it's better off to have the coordinating die. If there's a lot of white space, like something like what I'm coloring now, I wouldn't be able to cut in this or die cut in the scan and cut. I'd have to have the coordinating die in order for it to look right. You can design on it. I don't quite know how. I haven't used it for anything but to literally scan and cut. I could do that. Yeah, I could show the scan and cut. I don't know what version is out now, so I may not have the newest version of it, but it's probably pretty similar. I have the scan and cut. I think it's just 2. I think that's what it's called. Oh, wow. See, there's a lot of people that I know. My friend, she does a lot with her Cricut, and I have a Cricut and I use it, you know, for to basically die cut. But she makes all kinds of stuff, all these home decor things, and it's crazy what she can do with it. For these little buds here, I'm just going to basically color them the same way as this section right here, where the green is just on the top part here. I'm going to start off with just one, just to make sure that I like the way it's colored before I move on to the other ones. Yeah, Liz, I can do a quick tutorial with the way that I use it. I don't, like I said, I don't do anything crazy with it. It's pretty much just scanning and cutting. The Copic colors that I use the most. Probably the cool grays are the things that I use the most. And I know that just by the fact that I'm going through more refills of those than any other. But that's mainly because I do a lot of shadowing. Any white objects, I usually use my cool grays for. But as far as, you know, regular colors, the reds, the greens, I definitely do have my go-to combinations for those. But it really just depends on what I'm coloring. And my Copic collection is not huge at the moment. But it will be someday. Hi, Gail. I'm not doing any kind of crazy shading with these. I'm just kind of keeping this nice and simple. I have been going through more of my stuff that I need to get rid of as well. So, well, when I say go through it, I have a box full of stuff that I still actually have to go through, but I know that I no longer want it. So once I get back from my trip, I'll go through it in more detail and let you guys know what's in there. So I'll give you guys first dibs on some of those things. I heard that too, as far as the price increase. And then I heard that they aren't. So I don't know. I placed an order through Blick today, actually, just to be sure. Yeah, I'll do, I did a blog post a long time ago, a really long time ago, with my go-to colors. And honestly, since I've done it's probably changed because I've gotten more colors. Yeah, I can type up a blog post. If you guys, I'll link my blog. Once this is all done, I'll go back and link everything that I used along with the link to my blog. And I'll try to get that up in the next day or two as far as what my go-tos are for different color combinations. All right, last thing we got to do is the leaves. A lot with the Copics though, there's a lot of color combinations that you can kind of create that with maybe colors that you wouldn't have thought of using. Like here I'm using a YG03, G07, G03, and a G28. And these are completely different. I'll bring out my scrap piece of paper. There's my shadow color there. Here's my 2 midtones. And then my highlight color is a YG marker. And there is Frankie coming up on the table. So you can see that it's completely different, but they actually do go pretty good together. Frankie, sit down. Sit down. I'm sorry, guys. The Copic chows are pretty much the same thing as the Copic sketch. They're just shaped a little bit differently. They're a little smaller. And autocorrect will do that to the word Copics all the time. The Copic chows are round. They're a little bit smaller. Say hi. And I think they're still refillable, but they don't have, like these have the color on the cap. The chows don't. They're on the side. Frankie, you're going to have to go. But they are a little bit cheaper. He's so bold. He has been so good all day. Like I've been in the craft room all day long, and this is the first time he comes in here. I even recorded 2 whole videos today, and he didn't bother me at all. Yeah, that's not a bad price at all. I think I pay $5.24 on Blick. I'm just adding a little bit of shading on either side. This cat loves to watch me color. I mean, he's completely fascinated with it. It's kind of strange. Now, when I mix the YGs and the G markers, I usually go over the entire thing with this YG just because they are different. As you could see, they are definitely different. So I kind of tone it down or brighten it up with the YG marker. Okay, then I'll have to check that out. I did, like I said, I already placed the order with Blick this time, but I'll definitely check that out next time. Hopefully they don't go up too much, or hopefully they're not going to go up as much as they thought originally. I've heard mixed things. At first they were talking like a huge increase. And I think like everybody started panicking. Myself included. I'm getting a whole lot of little snugglies here. So if I pause, that's the reason. I'm kind of just adding some flicks from the side of the leaf just to kind of give it a little bit more shape or movement. Sit down. Sit. Bear, sit. They have the refills for $4.44. That is cheaper than Blick. Frankie. That's a G28, guys. He's going to keep knocking it off with this over with his tail. You will not regret it. It's a big, big, big investment. Regardless of how small you start with the collection, it's still a big investment. But you will not regret it. I promise you. I had that same problem with my Spectrum Noirs. I had a very hard time, even though they said it's the bullet nib and they're supposed to be fine tip. I had a hard time getting into teeny tiny areas. And I don't have that problem with Copics. As long as your nibs are in good shape, that's the way they should look, if you guys can see that. As long as you barely touch the paper, then you're fine. You can pretty much get into any teeny tiny area. You're not going to necessarily be able to do any shading if it's too tiny, but I don't really have a problem getting into those small little areas. You know what you do? You buy, they have what they call blending trios, and it'll give you 3 markers that obviously will blend well together. And that is how I started. I had wanted Copics for years, and I saw the Copic trio, and they were blues, and they were really cheap. So I figured I would try them, and if I loved them as much as I thought I was going to, then I would continue my collection. And I think they were the B12, B14, and B18, if I remember correctly. But just look up blending trios. You can practice with those 3. Color as many blue or pink or whatever colors you end up getting, just to kind of get practice with it. See if it's worth the investment. I think I got the blending trio for, I want to say that I got it for like $12 or $13 or something like that. So if I didn't like them, I didn't mind wasting that, but I didn't want to get a whole bunch of markers and end up hating them or not being able to use them. All right, so there is our coloring. And like I said, I kept that pretty simple. And I think I'm just gonna stamp the sentiment. I think I need to add a little bit more ink down here. It's not. If you could see his face right now, he's totally fascinated with it. He's never seen this before. All right. Oh, yeah. For these little things, I guess I'll probably just go in with yellow. Frankie, move your head. Move your head. All right. Sorry, I got stuff all over the place here. Yeah, don't buy those at Michael's. The only time that I ever bought them at Michael's is when I first started buying Copics. I went to no, this wasn't Avery, Elle. I went to Michael's and they had the Copic chows on clearance for dirt cheap. I mean, dirt cheap. And they had the skin tone pack. I think it comes with 5 or 6 markers. And they had it on clearance for like $12. I mean, insanely cheap. And you get the little ticket that you have to bring up to the register because they keep them in a locked case or whatever. So I brought up the little ticket. I was willing to get the Copic chows for that price. And she said, oh, they're not ringing up as clearance. And I showed her where I got them. So she ended up giving them to me for the clearance price, but she gave me the Copic sketch markers. So I ended up getting the Copic sketch markers, the skin tones, which are usually about $55 for $12. So I was able to build up my Copic collection a little bit faster by just getting deals like that by mistake, really. I'm hoping this is straight. His head is in my way. All right, I'm just gonna pop this on a card base. Actually, I'm gonna give this a minute to dry. This Versa Fine Ink, I don't know whether you guys use this, but this gives a really crisp image every single time, but it's a pigment ink. And even though it's a fast drying pigment ink, it's still a pigment ink, so it does take a few minutes to dry. And more than once, I've thought that it was dry and I've smeared it. So I like to give it a minute before I handle the panel a little bit. I'm going to add some sparkle to these flowers here. I've not tried the new Gina K. Honestly, there's so many inks out there now that I just can't afford to buy them all. I do want to try that ink though. I know I can't pronounce it, but I know what ink you're talking about. I definitely do want to try it. I have a whole stack of Copic safe inks. And then I kind of find one that I like to use and that becomes my go-to for a while. For a while, it's been the blackout ink. I really do like that. All right, and I need something else. I'm just gonna grab a few, amalgam. I think that's how you say it, amalgam, I think. I don't know. Just going to add a few Nuvo drops to kind of fill in some of this blank space. This is rose water. It's got a little bit of a pinkish hint to it, but it dries somewhat, mostly clear. Right now it looks pink, but once it dries, it won't. And I'll post a picture of this once it's dry on Instagram, if you guys are on Instagram. But that is it. Nice and clean and simple. It's kind of glaring because of all that sparkle I put on it, but I don't know whether you guys can see that. They are the jewel drops. So there's the jewel drops, which are, they have pigment, but they dry translucent. And then the crystal drops, which are color, and then they have the glitter drops. And they may have more by now, but those are the only ones that I have. But I will set this aside to dry. Like I said, I will post pictures of it. My Instagram is just my name. It's Courtney_Kreber. So I'll pop this up there in a little while once these dry a little bit. Oh, there's so much to get. I didn't get this stuff overnight. It's taken me years and years and years to build up my collection of everything that I have. You just got to find out what you like and go with that, and then slowly experiment with other things. There was many years that I didn't color a single thing because I didn't have good colored pencils. I didn't have markers. I didn't have anything. So I picked solid stamps. I picked layering stamps, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Once I got into the coloring, which really wasn't that long ago, I found my style. I found what I really enjoyed making. So I've kind of stuck to that ever since. I still go to my layering stamps sometimes. I still go to my solid stamps sometimes, but I found what I really enjoy doing. And the other way I could bang out the cards, especially with the Misty or a stamp positioner, you can get those cards out like that. These, not so much. There's sometimes that I spend, you know, on my really detailed scenes and stuff like that. There's cards that I've spent 2 or 3 hours on. But then there's other ones that I spend 20 minutes on. So it kind of all works out. It's just whatever you enjoy. So that is it. Does anybody have any questions? I know mine is a little bit delayed, so I'll give it a minute. When is the next live? Okay, the next scheduled live will not be probably until the end of January. I'm going to be doing some spontaneous lives while I'm at Creativation the week of, it starts the 17th, I want to say. I might have that date wrong. I think it starts the 17th and goes to the 21st. So during that week, or during that 5 days, there's going to be some lives there, but I won't have them scheduled. That's awesome. The Simon Says Stamp Monthly Card Kit, that will help you build your collection very quick. But my next scheduled live will be sometime at the end of January. I will have a video posted tomorrow, actually using the Simon Says Stamp Card Kit. I got that in the mail a couple days ago. So I did 5 cards like I normally do. But this time I split it up into 2 videos, 3 for the first video and 2 cards for the second video, just because they're like 25-minute long videos as it is, and I have things sped up and edited out. So I tried my best to leave out what wasn't necessary, but they're so long. So I'll have a video Monday and Tuesday for Simon Says Stamp. Wednesday will be a video for Trinity Stamps, and then after that, I don't know. I don't think that far ahead. You will. You will. It just takes practice. Just takes practice. And you got to find the medium that you like. You know, for the longest time, I tried to color with colored pencils. I had Prismacolored pencils, and I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I just could not get them to blend. And then I got the polychromos, and I love the polychromos, and I use them often, but I feel more comfortable with it. But still, my go-to is always going to be the Copics. Watercolor, yes, I do have a watercolor card coming up too. Maybe I will post that Thursday or Friday. I'm trying to space everything out. I also got Daniel Smith watercolors for Christmas, so I want to try those out. I got them in the palette drying right now, so hopefully they'll be ready tomorrow or Tuesday to start painting with, and hopefully hopefully I can do well with those. So if you guys do think of any other questions, feel free to either leave a comment. I should be able to see the comments later on, or like I said, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook Messenger, whatever you choose, whatever is easier for you guys. Feel free to send me over a message. That's it, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. I love you guys too. Bye-bye.